What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Adam. This is Vancity Audi. We're back at Racing Greed with the B9 S4 because finally, after 3 months of driving a stock vehicle, we are tuning it. We are tuning it with Integrated Engineering's Stage 1 91 octane file, and then we're finishing off with the Stage 1 93 octane file. We're sticking to pump gas today. For the tunes, that is. To make sure I'm getting the most out of my vehicle, I do run an ethanol blend in my gas tank. I am running Shell 93, which comes with up to 10% ethanol in it, and then I add extra E85. We are sitting at an E20 blend, meaning I know for a fact I'm gonna get the most I can out of these tunes with the fuel in my gas tank. Now, in terms of the dyno today, I wanted to explain how things are gonna work with the B9 S4. I might have to reiterate this in future videos, but from what I've seen, most of the people use dyno jet numbers on these cars. I'm not a huge fan of dyno jet numbers because I feel like they're inflated. The entire RS3 community goes off that, and that's what I showcase in my RS3 on the channel. But for this car, I'm gonna try to prove something to you all. Prove to you all just how much dyno numbers are variables that changes many times, depending on where you're located, depending on the weather conditions, depending on the density altitude, depending on the fuel in your tank, depending on the brand of dyno. So most people use dyno jet numbers on these cars and are registering really quite high. I am going to use Mustang uncorrected dyno numbers in this vehicle through and through. We're starting with Mustang uncorrected dyno numbers today, and we're gonna roll with it, and we're gonna keep going. But what you're gonna notice is my numbers on this vehicle are gonna showcase much lower than other people using dyno jet numbers. But what I'm gonna prove to you all is you're gonna see in terms of performance, 0 to 60, quarter-mile times on the race car track, that it doesn't make a lick of a difference. This car is still going to boogie and still going to go extremely quickly. I'm willing to bet even quicker than the people that have showcased dyno jet numbers claiming they make more power. So we're sticking with Mustang uncorrected numbers through and through. We're gonna take this car from 0, stock today, up to Stage 1 93 octane. Let's get to the dyno. Just wanted to quickly go over my engine bay, guys, to prove that I am all OEM hardware, OEM airbox, OEM turbo inlet. Down in here we can see that there is no upgraded intercooler, just a horrible, ugly looking crash bar that needs to be painted still. Besides that, we have downgraded B9 A4 brakes in the front and in the rear with 17-inch wheels and tires. Time to see how much power we make at a stock power level. Well, you can certainly tell that the previous owner of this vehicle, as well as myself, we have not bagged on this vehicle at all. The catalytic converter stinks from being heated up so badly after these back-to-back dyno runs. I just wanted to let you guys know ahead of time, Audi claims these vehicles make 354 horsepower at the crank, 369 foot-pounds of torque at the crank. These are Mustang uncorrected numbers at the wheels. And here are the results. Our baseline run, our baseline power, 303 wheel horsepower, 338 foot-pounds of torque at the wheels. Ugh, that is one ugly looking graph from the factory. What is with this ridiculous dip? I've seen this on the other B9 S4s that I've had on the channel. Just ugly, but we are here to improve that with some tuning from Integrated Engineering. So again, our baseline for this vehicle, 303 wheel horsepower and 338 foot-pounds of torque. Time to tune the car, Stage 1 91 octane version 1.01. It's gonna cost me 899 credits, requires 91 octane fuel as well as a transmission tune at a minimum of a torque limit increase only file. It then reminds you again the tune that you've selected. Next, it gives you that requirement again that it is meant for 91 octane fuel and you will need to flash your TCU as well. And lastly, this is how many credits it costs me and how many I have left after the purchase. So the ECU has been successfully flashed with Integrated Engineering's Stage 1 91 octane. Now for those of you that follow the channel, you know that I always like to pair my transmission with my ECU to make sure that they're speaking the same language and being able to handle the amount of power that the car is going to make. So Integrated Engineering also offers transmission tunes. It's a TCU tune. So now I'm going to flash that to make sure that it can handle the power the car is about to make, as well as along the way it's going to be shifting optimally and being able to launch properly as well once I start doing performance testing. For the transmission tuning, it is for Stage 1 or Stage 2 AL552. It doesn't matter whether you're Stage 1 or Stage 2, it's the same set of tunes. Torque limit increase only, street launch, aggressive launch, race launch, or the race launch with slicks. I'm going to be going with the street launch to start things off. Once you've selected that, it then reminds you it's a full transmission tune, including low boost launches. There it is again, letting you know the selected tune and reminding you again that it is a full transmission tune, including the low boost launches. Lastly, it tells you how much the tune is going to cost, which is 699 credits, and I have 100 credits left. Stage 1, 91 octane, TCU, street launch loaded up. Let's see how much power this makes now that I finally freaking tuned this car. I got into this platform because I knew it was going to be a blast, but just from a freaking 91 octane tune, this is pretty mind-blowing. Here are the results. Stage 1, 91. We made 349 wheel horsepower and freaking 443 foot-pounds of torque. That is a 46 wheel horsepower gain and an 105 foot-pounds of torque gain. Look at the differences in those graphs. You can see that the horsepower stays strong and steady, but these turbos are quite small and they die up top. They're not going all the way to 6,500, where this engine makes so much torque quickly. What is that peaking at? That is about 3,000 RPM. We are making peak torque. That is mental. Very, very excited to see what I can get out of this Stage 1 93 octane tune now. Time to flash the ECU again, this time with 93 octane, same version 1.01, this time costing me 0 credits because I've already purchased the ECU tune. Requires a minimum of 93 octane, and again it reminds you that this is version 1.01. Then the final requirement letting you know you need a minimum of a torque limit increase only file. The tune costs 0 credits because I have purchased it already, and because I've already flashed my TCU, this will work perfectly. Stage 1, 93, what are we gonna make? Let's find out. Here are the results. Stage 1, 93 octane. We made 355 wheel horsepower, 455 foot-pounds of torque for a gain of 6 wheel horsepower and 12 foot-pounds of torque up to that 93 octane tune. Here we see a little bit of a better pull for the 93. We didn't suffer that dip like we did in 91, and the torque hit a little later at about 3,300 RPM rather than the 3,100 RPM that we saw out of the 91 tune. Besides that, everything everything looks pretty much the same, and very impressive results from just a pump gas tune from Integrated Engineering. And here we are with the final graph of the day, stock versus stage 191 versus stage 193. We jumped from 303 wheel horsepower up to 355 for a gain of 52 wheel horsepower, and we started out at 338 foot-pounds of torque and jumped all the way up to 455 foot-pounds of torque for a gain of 117. Just incredible. You can see this really perforated line. Those are our stock numbers all the way down there. And then all the way up top, you see the peak torque for stage 193. Very incredible results from Integrated Engineering with this stage 191 and 93 octane tune. Well, now that we're making some serious power out of this 3-liter turbocharged V6, it's time that I performance test it. If you guys are familiar with my videos, you know it's not about the dyno results for me, it's about the performance of the vehicle in the quarter mile. So you'll be able to take a direct comparison between what I've made today on the dyno and what I'm able to do on the streets of Mexico. In the coming videos, I will be testing quarter mile performance, ET, and trap speeds. We will detune the car back to a stock power level, then we'll bump it up to stage 191 and then bump it up to stage 193, just like we did here today. And we will be able to make a direct comparison between those results and the power that we made today. So stay tuned for that video. Thank you very much to Racing Greed for having me once again. Until next time, guys, take care.